Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today's video is all about addressing some drama, addressing some controversy. Ladies and gentlemen, I normally don't like to get into this kind of stuff, and I normally don't even like giving it attention. But when I'm being brought into question over something that I genuinely am passionate about, over something that I genuinely believe I'm in the right for, you bet your fucking ass I'm going to respond to it appropriately. Now, ladies and gentlemen, all right, for those of you who don't know, all right, Twitch recently did implement some changes to their GraphQL API code. This is about their brand safety score system, which unfortunately since then has actually been removed. Now, the security researcher Dalem Teari, who initially broke the story, has revealed that unfortunately Twitch has removed all of this code, or at least, in my opinion, from what I speculate, and again, speculate? They might have shifted the code somewhere else, because really what this was an ad targeting system over at Twitch, where basically they would apply advertisement, you know, in a way, they would score channels based on how brand friendly they were. Basically, if you were more friendly, you would probably get much more friendlier advertisement placed on your channel, whereas if you were unfriendly, they may have looked into a mature ad pool, if it existed, and given you more mature ads. It was a way to target ads specifically. Unfortunately, with how online advertisement works, alright, things can be a bit fickle, and I'm going to get to that towards a later section of the video, because quite honestly what happened is a YouTuber known as Dark Viper AU, who I think I mentioned before during like a cheating scandal or something with Dream, had actually looked into this. Wait, did I mention? Oh, yeah, no, it was when I talked about GTA Online and its dumbass hacker problem. Now, here he makes a video where he says, SOG advocates content creators get paid less for their own good. Now, I don't know when I became a fucking advocate, alright? I never really said that. In fact, if you go to that video, even with the paraphrasing, it's incredibly misinformed in my opinion. Now, of course, the thumbnail says, some ordinary gamers cost everyone a fortune. You're going under the assumption that the code was even live in the first place, and again, just because the code is removed, as we stated earlier, doesn't mean that it didn't get shifted to a different API, or it might have gotten back-ended. I mean, this is just a whole fuck ton of assumptions. I mean, if we're gonna hit me for the assumption bomb, we gotta hit this for the assumption bomb too, in my opinion. I think it's just misinformation, personally speaking. Now, I'm gonna do a few cuts like this to sort of further elaborate on points or restructure if I have to. So, when this entire idea of me costing thousands of dollars, when in reality a 300,000 view video, Twitch's head staff, Twitch's engineering is not going onto YouTube and looking at a video I made and doing it. In fact, the backlash, I would argue, was pretty much like from everyone, okay? Like a lot of people covered it, okay? So to single me out is kind of a little, you know, stupid. To hear people say, how can you defend this? He helped stop Twitch from doing a good thing. He literally helped take money out of people's wallets with this video. Some ordinary gamers helped do that. I did not ever advocate to do that, and I didn't want to. And this is going under the straight up assumption that Twitch, a multi-billion-dollar company headquartered by another multi-billion-dollar company, would remove code that could actually make them more millions, if not billions of dollars year after year in advertising revenue. No one stopped them from doing that. If anything, this is very equivalent to the YouTube P-score system, where at one point it was viewable publicly, and now we can't see it. That doesn't mean that it's gone. Matt or anybody, if you guys know how programming works, these people could easily shift this code from this public API, or at least, you know, somewhat public API, to a much more private API, to something back-ended. It doesn't mean that it's gone. This actually can exist. If anything, the backlash may have in fact incentivized engineering to sort of restructure how they handle certain strings, how they handle certain values. It doesn't mean that people contributed to removing this in any capacity. No one at Twitch is going to remove code that can actually financially benefit them in the advertising department in any capacity. To simply assume that is very, very, very stupid. I'm just putting it out there. But let's go into this, okay? I want to watch this video. I want to understand the other side, and hopefully, if I'm wrong, I'll admit to it.
I don't know where I'm going to go with it, so let's just kind of move around. So here's a little story. So this guy found some stuff in Twitch's code, and he made a tweet about it. I talked about it yesterday, but I'll read the tweet again. Twitch has added an automatic brand safety score which grades how brand friendly every streamer is based on things like chat behavior, ban history, manual ratings by Twitch staff, games played, age, auto mod, and more. See below. And so yesterday, when I saw this, I was like, this looks like a really good thing. Finally, Twitch is actually doing something about their shit CPM on this platform. They're actually going to work to make the platform better for content creators. And like, I could only say this with some level of certainty because I'm still somewhat ignorant. But so I spoke somewhat hesitantly, but I'm like, okay, this seems like it's probably going to be a good thing. Then Devin Nash releases a video and confirms everything that I believe. Like, this is clearly a good thing. And the reason for it is Twitch currently has an issue where they have no analytical data to give to advertisers at all. So they, like, if you have a truck brand and you want to target your ads at people who watch video games that involve trucks, you fucking can't do it. Your advertisement money that you give to Twitch is equally likely to go to a stream with Hello Kitty Adventure 6 as it is with Monster Truck Madness. And so advertisers look at Twitch and go, we're not going to give you any fucking money. What are you, fucking crazy?
Okay, I love how he made this point, right? Like this is a point that he made, right? So clearly, you know, if he's gonna hit me, I wonder what point I must have made in my video. Compromise that priority. We'll share more information with our community along the way, and given Twitch, I actually think they will. Twitch is pretty decent with that shit. Now, of course, Dalem says this is exactly what the thread was about, and there's a change that will hopefully result in an improvement for advertising campaigns on the platform. Now, this is what I said in the beginning. I actually agree with this. On a good note, on a very positive sunshine and rainbow note, audience, okay, this could actually make it so that, you know, for instance, let's assume, right, somebody is playing, you know, fucking Mad World on the Wii. Super violent, super messed up game. They cuss like a sailor. They're chugging vodka shots. They're a very mature channel, okay? Obviously, their brand safety score would be pretty risque. Now, assuming that Twitch's ad pool has a bunch of mature ads and a bunch of kid-friendly ads, maybe... Again, that's an assumption that Twitch has a mature ad pool, okay? This is what I said earlier. When it comes to online advertisements and how Dark Viper said people get shit CPMs, the problem is when a video gets yellow dolaned, and again, I'm speaking from a YouTube perspective, it's not that the ads will never play on that video. That video can still actually play an ad. So one more post edit to sort of give you a little bit more visual aids and like what I'm talking about. If we want to look at like just from the YouTube perspective, and I'll go to Twitch in a second, this is the last video I had that actually got yellow dolaned, right? So basically YouTube identified a video about me being excited to play the new Pokemon game, which I actually really am, because Pokemon Arceus, Pokemon Legends Arceus looks really exciting for me, was actually limited. Now, YouTube had viewed this, you know, manually. A human reviewer said that I had strong profanity in the title, thumbnail, and opening of the video, roughly the first 30 seconds. I don't really see it, but then again, I'm not the human reviewer. People are different. So from this perspective, obviously the video is marked for yellow dolans. Now, this doesn't mean that the video does not get an ad played on it, okay? What this really means is that I can get like YouTube like red stuff, but also if there is a mature ad on YouTube, right? And I know we've already all seen the memes of like the really like weird adult ads that you see on YouTube flying around that get taken down within 24 hours anyways when you report them. This would be like advertisements that are, you know, YouTube considers mature friendly. So, you know, advertisements for, I don't know, you know, things that would be applicable to over 16, if you know what I mean, like over 18, something of adult orientation. Now, what this means is that this video probably isn't going to play advertisements from, you know, things like, again, the general ad pool, like maybe certain video games ads won't play on this, you know, certain product ads won't, you know, car insurance, things like that, things that are generally safe for public viewing, right? So I won't get those ads, but it doesn't mean that an ad won't play. So the whole point here is that if you're going to target sort of an edgier content creator, and some people have like rows of yellow dolans, so for them, their revenue drops substantially because they're not getting any ad placements. And if you look at, you know, Twitch's system, while it's very good for ad targeting, some of the code in it, most notably, you know, things such as, is the streamer like banned? What is the relationship with Twitch? Things like that. Even as simple as, you know, firing up what is ultimately the mature flag, which a lot of larger creators do. You know, you can go to like Wubby, you can go to Critical, you can go to like, you know, Shroud, I think any like people that play like 18 plus, you know, games like Warzone, they swear a bit in their streams, they fire up a mature flag. So, you know, the entire idea of this only affecting 0.01% of creators is out there, when in reality, if ads are taking all of that into account, you know, things like automod settings or anything, which would usually be more stricter on much more mature channels anyways, if all of those are taken into account, it's not that, you know, it's not like Twitch is going to absolutely downplay those channels. They won't. But the reality of it is they'll probably have less ad plays on their channels anyway, simply due to the content that they make, which is sort of my initial point. That is a very, very, very distinct possibility. In fact, as a streamer on YouTube, it does happen to me too. I set my entire stream to, mature friendly, and even with the monetization system, people barely get mid-roll ads anyways, which is fine or whatever. On any website, most of the online CPM, like live streaming side, is usually shit anyways. I hope it can get better, but systems like this, you can't help but understand that there is an issue. And again, computers are stupid, right? Computers only operate on the rules and conditions that we define. So this is a distinct possibility that can occur, which is exactly sort of the point that I'm getting at. Now, of course, this can all be mitigated. Let's assume that there is a mature ad pool, right? Like let's say that if I get yellow dolan, right? Like this Pokemon video, for instance. Now, the video above is normal. So assuming this is how YouTube is going to operate, or any like online website, this would get general advertisements, right? Anything. This would get mature ad pools, right? Mature advertisements. It's historically and commonly known that most of the online advertisement market, mature ads are greatly like, these general sort of brand-friendly ads outweigh the mature ad pool that we have. So the edgier creators get like this much of a total crumb, while people who have to water down their content and, appeal to the entire algorithm in a brand-friendly manner end up getting the overall giant chunk of the ad pool. That's kind of like the point that's being made. Of course, to understand, if those pools of ads were equivalent, like let's say you had like brand-friendly ads, then you had those mature ads, then there really wouldn't be any issue. Edgy creators would get the same chunk of pie that these creators get, but that's not normal. That's never going to happen. And a lot of it comes down to Amazon and Google's ad systems, and even Facebook's as well, where certain types of ads, like I think, for example, casino ads, straight up gambling ads, are just never going to be allowed on the platform. I think even to an extent alcohol ads aren't allowed on the platform. It's actually a little fucking puritanical if you want to get down to it. That's why, like, when I look at television or other forms of like legacy media, they have all kinds of adult ads after dark. So the day we get that is the day things are going to change. That's what's really going to help creators. That's what's really going to put the bucks in a creator's pocket, is when these services actually start to cater and capture more of those mature ads. And I feel like I should have elaborated on that more in the video now that I think about it, but let's get back. That doesn't mean that if an M-rated game like, say, Grand Theft Auto 6 gets announced tomorrow, right, with like, obviously it's an M-rated adult-oriented experience. That isn't to say that that advert could not play on a demonetized video. It just means that that video has to be targeted for a much more mature advertisement. With the system that Twitch implements, it means that that advertisement could theoretically play on a Twitch stream or even a Twitch VOD. To this day, there are still edgy creators that I like with large followings who still require things like a Patreon, like donation buttons, because that's the only way that they can produce the content that they want on these current modern websites, okay? So just because the ad targeting system is there doesn't mean that 99.9% of people are magically going to be unaffected by this. It may affect people piecemeal. Again, that is to an extent still some level of speculation tossed in with what I believe to be some fact about the advertising system out there. Again, that's just where I was coming from. That's the field that I was looking at, creator focused. So for those of you who don't know, like, even though I don't stream on Twitch, I am a Twitch partner, and Twitch does a lot of things that are pretty beneficial. For instance, allowing me to select the option to make ad-free viewing for everyone who's on my streams, just so those things don't get into the way, and multiple other options regarding all of it. They also give you a lot of moderation, so for instance, auto-modding. And when you look back to the code, auto-mod came up a few times. And the reality of it is that you turn this on and you can set it up to whatever system you want. So again, if you do maximum filtering, right, which is something that it looks into, it may give Twitch just a general idea in the algorithm that maybe this moderation does require maybe this chat room does require a heavy level of moderation. And one may wonder why that is. And that may be sent to the ad networks over at Twitch, or sorry, Amazon's ad system out there. Now, of course, this is all, in my opinion, good, okay? It's granular checks and all of it. Aside from checking the ban history and all that stuff with Twitch, which seems very shady, when they look into things like the ESRB rating of a video game, when they look at things like auto-modding, when they look at all of it, it tends to at least paint some sort of a picture for the ad networks as well. See, in my video, I consider some strings to have made sense, some really not to, but that's pretty much what I'm getting at as well. It makes you wonder, though, going forward, for instance, this is like Tim the Tatman, whose stream has been indicated for mature audiences, okay? This is actually something that you can do on Twitch. You can, in fact, go into your stream settings and set it so that it is a mature content flag. In fact, the option is literally right there, okay? Enable this setting if your stream contains content that may be inappropriate for younger audiences, right? You may never broadcast, you know, things like sexual activity, nudity, threats, extreme violence, and this will actually terminate your account, which I completely 100% agree with on anything. But this is just a flag that we put on right there for our channels, and there's got to be some understanding that putting yourself out there as a mature content creator, as somebody that is making edgier content, you've already enabled the one thing that puts you a leg above in being brand unfriendly. And again, if we tie it back to everything that I'm saying before, historically, at least from my experience on YouTube and YouTube streaming, and even on Twitch for a bit, you can kind of see that, yeah, of course, you know, you're going to be sort of taken away from that general ad pool. And, you know, again, it may not throw you down in search rankings. There's still plenty of popular streamers who have this flag enabled. It's just if we're going to go into the idea of revenue, that 0.01% of people that will be affected tends to go a little bit higher. And it goes beyond mature content as well. Twitch is a very capable website. There's going to actually be artificial intelligence that does track everything that you're saying. So if you use a bunch of cuss words, like if I say fuck too much, there's definitely an algorithm at YouTube or Twitch that will understand how many times I've said it and probably realize that maybe I'm more mature of a streamer than the average other person, you know, who may be playing like a Minecraft SMP server who's just like complete brand friendly. So that's one of those things to truly, you know, rack your brain over. That person's channel and them getting like an ad for a fucking Fisher Price toy might be a waste of time and money on Twitch's end. That's bad advertisement. Now, let's say that Twitch had an ad for like monster trucks and like, you know, whatever mature shit is out there, you know, maybe like a firearm ad. I don't fucking know. They could put that ad onto this person's stream, and that would be a much more effective ad for that person's audience, thus making that streamer money and then Twitch money. Because at the end of the day, Amazon wants to make a fuck ton of money. Amazon's not going to sell ad space and then fucking misuse that. So maybe that's what the ad targeting is about, right? But that's, again, I pretty much threw that as the positive case scenario, which, to be honest with you, is probably the realistic scenario. And again, just because that code is removed doesn't mean that it's gone. If this is genuinely beneficial for Twitch, they're not going to get rid of their ad targeting system because somebody on YouTube with 337,000 views on a video said so. All right, that's just not how it works. Let's go through.
It's gonna waste all my money targeting people that have no interest in trucks in any life. Every single advertisement that you watch on Twitch is a direct deal made with a representative of Twitch with some advertising agency. This was evidence that like Twitch was finally going to go into the normal ad pool of Amazon. Content creators are going to make so much fucking more money and look so good. And then you have people like this guy who rile up everyone. Twitch keeps making mistake after mistake. People like this guy who rile up everyone. Twitch keeps making mistake after mistake. Drones on about how doom and gloom this looks. Gets to the end, and he's like, his tagline is, new ad system seems to be playing stages over at Twitch. And honestly, it seems like something that can divide and target creators that seem to make content that is against the norms. Thanks for watching. It's like Twitch has invented eternal life.
So I don't know what was really wrong with that statement. I get that maybe the title was a bit hyperbolic, but I mean, that is sort of the name of the game on YouTube, you know what I mean? But, you know, I definitely stand by my titles, okay? Twitch does keep making mistake after mistake. You know, if we look at just the Twitch Safety Council, which was this moderation whole team shebang almost a year ago, there were several videos that were made by people who were prominent on Twitch and people who weren't. You know, I made a video, you know, multiple other creators made videos on this type of stuff. You know, Asmongold made a video on it, and I'm sure Asmongold has more say on Twitch than anybody else in this entire list. And so when you look at this whole scenario, right, you have to understand that there are mistakes that are being made. Like when people saw this and people saw the ability for certain people on this team to wield more power and be almost abusive with that power, everyone sort of cringed over at Twitch. But on a more serious note, you know, Twitch did have a big, massive issue with things like Digital Millennium Copyright Acts, which are a huge issue if, let's say, you're playing video games that have copyrighted music in them, right? And this was, again, I have to say that a lot of this was like streamers who were playing fucking music in the middle of gameplay, which is just a no-no. But in reality, right, like, this is something Twitch should have been up there. When YouTube has a better DMCA system than you know you fucked up. But again, it's really just playing copyright. And it's one of those things where I honestly, from what I always gather with Twitch, there's always more of a fuck up than there is some sort of a positive outlook to look in it. And not to say that there aren't fucking positives, for sure. Twitch is a growing website. Twitch has provided a career to tons of people. But again, when you look at this code in example, if all of this was just calculating ESRB ratings on auto mods and things like that, I'd be totally fucking fine with it. That's just basic ad targeting stuff. But when you get into things like looking at a creator's, like looking at the relationship with Twitch, their ban history, like fucking, you know, all this other stuff, you can't help but wonder that all of those factors playing in and creating a score on you, how that score can be manipulated, how that can be changed. When you just look at the one string that had to be related with automod and how bad a chat can be, you have to wonder if there could be some sort of trolling. Listen, I'm not saying that a general increase in, you know, income isn't going to happen, but it's not going to be for 99.9% of people out there. There's still a lot of edgy creators that exist, a lot of people who swear, a lot of people who play violent video games. And a violent video game, according to this algorithm, could include things like Call of Duty Warzone hitting the M rating, things like Valorant, which I believe is M rated or maybe teen, things like Grand Theft Auto 5, which is very popular and M rated. So if we were to look at this from an analytical algorithmic perspective, the actual system and the code may favor games like Minecraft, which are E, you know, for 10 and plus, you know, a game that everyone can watch, and a game that is obviously more brand friendly than, say, if one streamer was playing fucking Manhunt or even GTA or, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2, or I got all the Rockstar games, or Cyberpunk 2077, the M-rated game category with much more sexual shit going on, much more violent stuff. So you can't help but wonder if, of course, this is going to affect. It doesn't mean that 99.9% of people are going to make thousands of dollars more, okay? Honestly, the 0.01% argument is a little wild, but that's just really all I have to say on it. I do stand by the statement, and I do stand by the statement here. It's not about picking out the negatives. There are very good positives, but it's about understanding that with the history we've seen regarding these credit algorithms that exist on, again, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and everything, that you can't help but wonder, when you look at the code for what it is, there has to be some sort of understanding, you know, some sort of assistance, at least to creators who are growing. You know, there are edgier creators, right? Like, you have to understand, the larger creators are never going to get affected by this kind of shit, but it's always the small guys to the mid-tier guys who are just trying to fucking grind their channel out. And it's those people who, if the system has scored them lowly, they're not going to make it anywhere on Twitch, or at least it's going to be significantly fucking harder. I'm not saying the system should be scrapped. I'm saying the system is good, but there are elements. Again, computers are stupid, right? Like, algorithmically, right? You got to think about it. Computers only act upon the rules and parameters we set. When you give it parameters like this, it needs to be defined much more granularly, which I hope that exists somewhere in the API, to be honest with you. But I'm getting a bit too ahead of myself. Let's go back to the whole video.
Eternal life. Twitch has got it in a jar here, right? And Mutahar's like, man, but think about all those people who are like 80 now, where like they're gonna drink it and be 80 forever. It seems like a pretty bad thing. I hope this doesn't get implemented. Like, it's just...
Yeah, actually, being 80 forever would fucking suck. Do you know how goddamn... You know how many medical problems you'd have with eternal life? Jesus Christ, at 80? Motherfucker, if you said 35, I'd be down for it. Now, I feel like this is a weird connection, okay? I didn't outright just say it was doom and gloom. I literally showed you in this video again what you didn't show in yours, the proper context of me straight up telling you that this ad targeting system could actually theoretically benefit a lot of mature creators. But I also gave you my angle of why I personally believe that those guys will still get shafted. Do you genuinely believe that there are just as much profitable advertisements for mature-oriented creators right now in the Amazon web targeting system, the ad targeting system, the Google ad system, that are as equivalent as, say, kid-friendly advertisements, which have historically been more profitable over years? That is why everyone here waters down their content so they can even get close to that fucking level. People are afraid to say fuck, okay? This isn't my job. That's why I say fuck. I don't care if the video gets yellow Dolan or green Dolan or even red Dolan, motherfucker.
Like, it's like missing the forest for the trees. Like, it's so dumb. It's like you've drilled down to find the only possible negative that could maybe come from this in some like beyond stretch of the imagination. You've picked for the negative.
Did you watch the section I played in this video where I showed you that it could theoretically be good?
It's like, okay, so maybe only 99.99% of content creators would benefit from this change. Maybe. Because ad revenue already is shit. The ad revenue I make on this platform is 1/37th of the money that I make. 1/37th! Advocating in a video to stay with that system is so fucking dumb. What is wrong with you? You admit in the video ad revenue is shit, and then you advocate for staying with the same system that they have right now. What the fuck?
As of my last medical checkup, I can confirm I am 100% fine. I poop normally and everything is good and gravy. But alongside that, that's disgusting gravy. Everything alongside is just fine. Now, to answer this question in a much more detailed manner, I would like to say that when I look at content on the internet, when I look at the monetization systems, I'm not saying, again, I never said that I advocate for Twitch to keep not making money. In fact, the whole goal of these social media services is to make money and do this kind of stuff. But being somebody that's in the, sort of more mature adult content sphere, when the adpocalypse hit on YouTube, some ordinary gamers lost 70% of its revenue, right? Like in that adpocalypse time, the money just dropped. And that was okay, because for me, I don't do this as a job. I have other things. I have a job, I have investments, I have all that stuff. Don't keep your eggs in one basket. Basic life advice. But for all that situation and all of it I looked at, it absolutely killed a lot of the edgy content that was on this platform. It killed a lot of mature content. So creators like Nexpo and Night Docs, who are some of my great friends, people that I hope to drink with again pretty soon, were people that make content that is great, absolutely wonderful, stuff that you find on Netflix. It cannot be run on YouTube with the same level of bravado, simply because of monetization practices, and even things in the algorithm tend to play against them too. But when I look at things like this Twitch system, where again, if it was just ESRB ratings, if it was just checking your, well, even the automod is kind of fishy, but if it was just checking all of these flags with games and, maybe how much the creator cusses, I can understand that. But when you're looking at things beyond that, when you're looking at relationships, when you're looking at the streamer more so than maybe the content that they're streaming perhaps in this system, at least from what I've read out of the code, at least from what I've seen, again, there's a good chance that the brand safety has more code that was probably hidden beyond other APIs as well too. So again, this is never going to be removed. It's going to exist. To say that this is going to make 99.9% of creators lose thousands of dollars is a bit hyperbolic. There's no evidence that this is removed. And honestly, from a very educated guess, they're never going to remove this system. It's going to come back, and it's going to come strong, because Twitch needs this to make hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars more. They need it to make any system out there. It's never going to be gone. If it's disappeared from the code base, it's probably shifted somewhere else, most likely. But again, I'm looking at this more from like a creator-focused perspective. I really don't want the edgier creators I watch to be sort of targeted and thrown down, because in a lot of ways, that's a majority of what Twitch can be, playing games that are over the M rating. So really, when you set an algorithm loose like this with, I would say, not so much a granularly defined set of rules, from what I've seen, it tends to cause more mayhem and havoc, and there's no bigger experience than witnessing it happen on YouTube for the last several years. I hope Twitch does better. I hope Twitch does it entirely different. Honestly, I hope Twitch paves the fucking way, so YouTube has to wonder, oh shit, Amazon's doing something better than us, better start copying them. But that's something hopefully time will tell. Now, also, just to add more, yelling like Gypsy Crusader isn't going to help your case out anymore. It just really comes across as abrasive, almost uneducated in my opinion. And the other thing is that I'm just going to say for the record, I never advocated any of this to begin with. Putting words into my mouth is just something I really don't appreciate. I mean, that's a very strong paraphrase, if we're even going to call it.
How can you be that dumb? Twitch doesn't want to segregate content creators. Twitch, in their wildest dreams, they just love reality, where advertisers would be perfectly willing to waste their advertisement dollars on the platform. They would go, okay, sure, we want to sell Ming vases, but we're fine, just give it to anyone. We don't care if they want a Ming vase or not, or if they're likely to buy one. Here's a $10 trillion in advertising, Twitch. That's Twitch's dream. Twitch would just love to be able to continue as they do, throwing money, throwing advertisers at literally everyone and getting the max amount of revenue possible. But we don't live in that world. Twitch isn't the one causing this to happen. It's advertisers and consumers. If you were equally willing to buy a Fabergé egg and a tow truck, the Twitch would be fine and wouldn't need a system like this. But they need it, as does every single fucking website on this entire fucking internet that needs to make money to survive.
Wait, Wait, I'm glad that you said that. Hold on, let me go back to my video real quick. Thus making that streamer money and then Twitch money, because at the end of the day, Amazon wants to make a fuck ton of money. Amazon's not gonna sell ad space and then fucking misuse that. So maybe that's what the ad targeting is about, right? Now, of course, that point is something everyone can come up with. Everyone knows that the entire goal of a website is to make money. I know that the current system isn't viable for Twitch. However, the system that they showcased, that we all looked at, the only piece of things that we could look at, led to a scenario where, yes, you could look at the positive, but it was one of those situations where there was a fuck ton of negative as well present. To immediately assume that that didn't exist, to immediately assume that the algorithms, to the ad targeting system could not eventually backfire is really fucking naive. And that's just ultimately what the final product of it, that's the ultimate, like, you know, at least what I was saying in that part. So to assume that I was wholly negative in the entire thing, but I couldn't find that one glimmer of positivity and understanding why Twitch or Amazon would pull that off is incredibly fucking disingenuous. That's what I'm going to say.
Imagine advocating for Twitch to keep their revenues low, as if that's going to help content creators. Or like, it's like, look guys, as long as Twitch makes as little money as fucking possible, in the dumbest way possible, content creators are going to do better in the long term. Are you fucking high? Like, I just hate literally everyone and getting the max amount of revenue possible. But we don't live in that world. Twitch isn't the one causing this to happen. It's advertisers and consumers. If you were equally willing to buy a Fabergé egg and a tow truck, like the Twitch would be fine and wouldn't need a system like this. But they need it, as does every single fucking website on this entire fucking internet that needs to make money to survive. Imagine advocating for Twitch to keep their revenues low, as if that's going to help content creators. Or like, it's like, look guys, as long as Twitch makes as little money as fucking possible, in the dumbest way possible, content creators are going to do better in the long term. Are you fucking high?
It's interesting to say that, like, I've watched my entire 14-minute video, and not at one point did I say that I actually am totally fine with content creators making less just because of keeping this, you know, archaic system alive. I was honestly just looking at this code and how it could actually be misused. You know, if anything, that code being taken away, that code being removed, maybe it's also getting edited. That's also a very, I mean, this entire whole thing is based on assumptions from two sides that have no idea about the internal workings of Twitch. Look, I'm an old engineer, like I understand how things work here and there, but I don't know how Twitch handles every single thing internally. Maybe there's a good chance that this whole thing got removed, but that seems highly unlikely because this is going to be incredibly profitable if they pull this off. If anything, the backlash may have let them understand that there might be extra things to add to make this whole system better. And ultimately, that is a net positive for anybody involved. At the end of the day, nobody is advocating for streamers to lose money. But what anybody should be advocating is that the system shouldn't be haphazardly thrown on. We have already seen on YouTube that simply allowing bots to tackle anything leads to some terrible situations. And it's not just demonetizations, it can sometimes lead to entire channel takedowns, which, you know, you get into, if you can raise just enough attention at YouTube, you know, at their social media accounts, you can get your accounts back or anything of that sort. Look, lately I had a video that was turned to 18 plus. I had to communicate after an appeal was rejected with YouTube's, you know, social networks, and only until then did that actually get reversed. People don't want these algorithms at the end of the day, which can or cannot. Like I said earlier, computers are fucking dumb, okay? At the end of the day, they only work on the rules and parameters that we've set. And from the parameters that I saw, there is a chance even the engineer that leaked this out, the cybersecurity professional, had some idea of understanding that this could happen. However, we all know that it's an ad targeting system, but there is understanding that there could be an abuse into it. I don't understand why that's so hard to state and why that's so hard to come across, okay? You can be positive about something, and you can also state that there is some mistakes into the situation, which in this, I saw more of a mistake personally. Now, I'm sure that Twitch is going to go back to the drawing board and elevate the situation, and it'll be back wholesale. And when it comes back, I highly doubt we'll even see it in the API that was leaked out to begin with. It'll probably be something super fucking back-ended. But it's not like they're going to abandon a project. That's just so fucking silly to think.
I just hate that we finally get Twitch doing something good, and it's just people still cannot give them credit. Because people like this, someone has to find the negative.
Yeah, I actually do have to find a negative because I don't live in a world of sunshine and rainbows. I've seen throughout my time on the internet and my time on YouTube that advertisement systems and these judgment systems do have some level of negative effects on creators that I follow, okay? So obviously I'm going to find a negative in this, but it's so convenient that you look at my entire video and you paint it across this one little 7-minute segment rant of yours and fail to actually notify the audience that I did look at the positives. I did understand what this was going. And in a perfect world, in a very perfect world regarding Twitch, everyone would be beneficial. But like I said earlier, do you honestly believe that the advertisement pools that exist for mature creators are as bountiful and as fucking, lucrative as ad pools that exist for much more brand-friendly creators? That's another key issue, okay? If you look at my entire video, in the very beginning of it, I actually get into a point where I talk about it's okay for TV and all these legacy forms of media to be much more mature when we get treated like we have to be on some kids network the entire time. That's where I'm getting at over here, okay? That's what I'm looking at. I'm not advocating that creators make less. I'm advocating against systems that could ultimately potentially be used against them in some fashion. In a perfect world, this system can actually be very beneficial. The systems over at YouTube are much more advanced than this, and I would say that the monetization systems on YouTube are effective because YouTube is not only better at getting advertisements, but they're better at actually sending them out. And it's not because of anything. It's because this is literally Google's job. They lead the pack going forward. Amazon and Twitch, they're all still behind, and that goes for almost any other tech service out there as well. There's a change that will hopefully result in an improvement for advertising campaigns on the platform. Now, this is what I said in the beginning. I actually agree with this. On a good note, on a very positive sunshine and rainbow note, audience, okay, this could actually make it so that, for instance, let's assume, right? Yeah, you're right, man. I totally can't see the positive in anything. God damn.
He's out there for days in the forest going, where's something negative that I can bring to my fucking rabid viewers so they can say in the comments that Twitch fucking sucks? And this guy points it out as well. He's like, this has since been removed from Twitch API. Please see this thread for more details. Twitch has unfortunately removed all elements of the brand safety score from their API. Hopefully it's not a permanent change caused by the unjustified backlash from people completely misinterpreting that this was simply an ad targeting score. This change was a good change, as would help Twitch target ads better, which would help them get on the level of YouTube on an advertising sense that's leading to content creators earning more. Also, every other social media platform already has their own version of this implemented. It just doesn't give a fuck. Thanks, man.
I'm so glad that Matt is passionate, and Matt brought up that guy, the one who originally brought this out. I don't want to blow your fucking mind or anything, okay? And I hate to be like leaking a DM that was sent to me, but he actually went out and actually thanked me for the overall accurate coverage of the tweet that I made. The tweet that they made. It was much more accurate than many other articles and videos that I've seen on this. And also I wanted to clear up some misconceptions, to which he actually very, very nicely explained the GraphQL API and all of this kind of stuff to me. And we even got to a point where things were discussed that even though this code was removed, he let me sort of interpret that to myself, which is why I believe that code, which Matt really wants implemented on Twitch, is probably backended or is probably shifted to another API. I'm so glad that you threw me under the bus by making me look like a fucking dipshit, when clearly the person that brought this forward also believes that me and him are on the same fucking page. He watched the video.
Man, I hope you didn't cost me thousands of dollars. But as he points out, pay Hubby Wubby, or whatever the fuck his name is, might lose, 1/40th of his revenue, so everyone else should get fucked. Everyone else should be held down in what advertisements they can get on their fucking content, because Hubby Wubby wants to pretend he's fucking a dog, or he's fucking stream or some shit. Dude! Do I expect some ordinary gamers to come out and say, look, I was wrong, my bad? No.
First off,
fuck no. Look at this smug asshole. What a
First off, I like to say that it's pay money wubby. I hate to sound like a tier 3 to my boy, but like just because pay money wubby is going to lose a bit of his. Do you understand the point? It wasn't really about the entire income over there. It was about how those creators are going to be treated in regards to that income. You know, it's not just Pay Money Wubby that would lose his income. It would be any edgy creator. I used one example. And I mean, Matt, who plays Grand Theft Auto 5, even though that he gets good CPMs on YouTube, because YouTube will monetize a video, especially, you know, gaming related here and there. Sometimes they'll remove categories, sometimes they might give you the yellow Dolan. But with a YouTube video, it's far more easier to make money than a stream where an ad may or may not be played, right? So clearly, you know, difference of worlds over there. But regarding, you know, streamers, there is a distinct possibility that those, you know, being an edgier creator, being somebody that plays primarily mature games can get you a little screwed over on that side of the internet. And to assume that I don't take responsibility and apologize when I have to, you know, one can easily look at I Owe an Apology video where I made a very fucked up, you know, video calling out H3H3, similar to the vein that Matt is calling me out on with this heated anger. And I would say that in this manner, I was 1000% in the wrong. And I apologize to Ethan Klein from H3H3, and now we're on good terms. I owe Ethan a fucking beer when I go to Los Angeles whenever COVID is over. So Ethan still has that owed from me, and we're on fucking good terms now. We speak to one another, you know, here and there, and it is what it is. To assume that I'm not here, you know, apologizing when I need to be is simply fucking absurd, and it shows me you've barely done any sort of research on who I am as a person, what the character really is.
Long story short, some ordinary gamers effectively argue that 99.99% of content creators and Twitch itself should keep their revenue far below what they should be getting with a competent advertising system, because there is a very unlikely event that 0.01% of content creators might lose the tiniest fraction of their revenue.
I'm going to tie this video off because it's gone on for way too long, but obviously I disagree completely with Matt's whole stuff over here. I disagree entirely with Dark Viper AU. And, you know, I think there's some burning questions left to be answered. Matt, obviously, you know, I don't really appreciate the fucking go for my throat, call me all this, a smug asshole, if you will. You know, to be honest with you, I'm sorry that I'm a sarcastic guy. Maybe it comes across like that. Honestly, I'm glad that I'm making this video just to understand and to understand, like, maybe I need to change my content to become, like, a super positive person. Because, yeah, I do notice that there's a bit of negativity. So, yeah, big thanks to Dark Viper AU. I think I'm on the straight and narrow a little bit. You know, at some point, somebody within themselves has to know that, you know, they're kind of fucking up a little bit, you know, go on the right path, you know, keep that ego in check, if you will. But in this case, in this whole, like, situation regarding Twitch's system, I stand firmly with what I said. I've explained as much as I can, and I'm just going to leave it at that. You know, if Matt wants to respond any further, I'm not going to bite more into it. It is what it is. I only wanted to make this video to really just respond to all of this nonsense. As far as a burning question between people who are like, whose side should I take? You can take anybody's side. I really don't care. If you hate me, you hate me. If you love me, you love me. It is what it is. Look, I'm just here to entertain you. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Do I dislike Matt? Actually, yes, I do. I don't think I can ever get along with Matt. I don't think I can ever, you know, appreciate him. And at the end of the day, like, he obviously feels the same for me. He doesn't like me. That is what it is. Clearly, I am the C word, if you will. So at that point, you know, fuck it. You know, obviously we both dislike each other, but the world keeps spinning, and that's just how Mafia works. You can watch both of us and just pretend that we don't exist in the same universe. Okay, he's Marvel, I'm a fucking DC. Okay, that's how Mafia works. But at the end of the day, I will say that I respect Matt, despite, you know, reading a shit ton of comments after that video and my stuff. A lot of people said that I was getting harassed, which I'm not. So please don't target Matt for anything. Don't target him in general, and don't blame him for, like, some of his viewers coming in and being kind of toxic. Okay, like, it happens across the board. I'm sure he disavows it. I disavow it when people happens, and plus I'm a big boy, I can handle it. I'm fine. But thank you for the concern. As far as everything goes, I still respect Matt, even though I dislike, you know, him. I respect him because he obviously is grinding. He's running a hustle, and I hope going forward his YouTube channel sees some great success, his Twitch channel sees some great success, and I hope that he keeps smashing speedrun records. You know, at the end of the day, we're both creators. You know, Matt disagrees with me, I disagree with him, and that's pretty much how it goes. I explain my points, he's explaining his points, and at the end of the day, that is what it is. So yeah, this is me, Mudahar, and I think I might double upload. I might make a video on a game with Comic Sans all over it, so check that out later on. But this is me, Muda, and I'm out.